So Joel is obviously a fan favorite in The Last of Us, and he is one of the final characters you unlock in No Return. He is definitely a lot of fun to play, but he does have a very unique playstyle when you compare him to most of the other characters in the game. So today we're going over the ultimate Joel guide for No Return. Now, Joel's playstyle is called Unstoppable. He starts with more weapons than anyone else in the game, having his trusty custom revolver. He also then starts with an upgraded melee weapon as well as a shiv. And you also get the pistol holster too, meaning that as soon as you get a secondary pistol, you can switch quickly between that and the revolver. Now, his traits are that he gets the custom revolver rather than just a normal one. He is also sturdier against melee too, meaning that you can essentially just take more melee hits. And you also get the shiv recipe and the shiv upgrade range too. Now, the main downside though is that just like Tommy, you can't dodge with Joel, mainly because he is an old bastard who just can't move like he used to. Now, touching on that bit a little bit further, because that is obviously the main detriment, I guess, when it comes to playing Joel. The hardest thing about him is easily the fact that you have no dodge. Now, you can definitely find yourself in a tough situation out of absolutely nowhere as Joel. So this is the main thing that you need to just keep in mind at all times. The amount of times I have literally just forgotten I can't dodge. Every other character can dodge, so you just get used to pressing that L1 button when there are enemies pushing you. And I generally just tend to forget that with Joel. I'll try and dodge, nothing happens, and they hit me, and a lot of times that can immediately result in a death, especially on survivor or grounded, because for example in those modes you can be 2-hit killed in melee. It has happened to me so many times now where I just literally forget I can't dodge, so that is something to keep in mind at all times. If you forget that, you are almost guaranteed to die, so just be sure to keep that in your mind at all times. Now, the best way to avoid this ever being an issue is mostly just to focus on stealth as much as you can. When it comes to playing as Tommy, him being a sniper means that you can kind of be a bit more aggressive while not having the dodge still, because he obviously has that added range and firepower. With Joel though, you do definitely need to play a little bit more stealthy rather than playing that more aggressive playstyle that Tommy has, simply because you don't have the long range of a sniper unless you get one eventually through the trading post. But at least early on, you definitely need to play very, very stealthy. And that obviously suits his playstyle a bit more anyway, because he does have the shivs, which can obviously help for taking out clickers and stuff like that. So Joel definitely suits that stealthy playstyle, at least until you are upgraded with some more weapons and stuff like that. Now, before we go any further, if you guys are enjoying the video and you are interested in more No Return content, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. There is plenty of content that is already live on the channel, so make sure you don't miss out. Now, the custom revolver that Joel spawns with is so good. For those who don't know, when you get a custom weapon with any of the characters, that essentially means that it is fully maxed out. So obviously any weapon in the game, you can upgrade it throughout your run, giving it all the better attachments and stuff that you spend your parts on. But the custom revolver, for example, is one that is already fully maxed out. So this thing is absolutely insane. It obviously has that damage buff that you get through the upgrades. It is a lot more accurate and stuff like that. It also has a larger capacity, meaning I believe you can carry 12 rounds instead of 6. So his revolver is absolutely insane. You definitely want to be making the most of that. The fact that you can have 12 rounds in it too means that you can actually have 24 in total, and it does feel as though you kind of just never run out of ammo with this thing. So even though I just mentioned about playing stealthily, obviously that is still key to doing well as Joel. But if you do find yourself in a pinch, you don't have to run away or anything like that. You can hold your own very well with that custom revolver. So keep that in mind. It isn't just a regular pistol. I think a lot of people probably don't realize how good it is, and be sure to make the most of it. Now, something that is worth getting with Joel, which I said the same thing for Tommy, is the close quarters upgrade path. You can see this by the axe icon. And if you see this through any of the encounters that you can choose throughout your run, you definitely want to choose that path, because this upgrade range is absolutely insane. It is 100% worth going down that path and unlocking it, even if it is a little bit of a harder path, because once you get to the later encounters and the bosses and stuff like that, the close quarters upgrades are very solid. The first upgrade allows you to craft those melee upgrades, for example, turning a regular baseball bat into a more deadly one, as well as restoring its durability. That is obviously very handy, because having no dodge, if you've got a really good melee weapon, that can kind of make up for that just a little bit. The second tier then gives that just a +1 durability on top of the durability that it already has. And then the third tier to this upgrade path is actually 25% extra health, which is very clutch since you don't have the dodge. Once you do get this upgrade path, it is absolutely worth trying to pretty much just always have a good melee weapon, for example, like an axe or something, especially when you have got it upgraded to where it has that extra durability. It will just keep you alive in those close quarter situations, and it does last a hell of a long time too. Those axes, for example, they can often be a one-hit kill and they can get like 7 uses out of them. And if you use it up to the 6th use and there's only 1 left, then you can obviously upgrade it and you can kind of restore its durability. As far as I know, you can only do that once with each weapon, but obviously if you've got enough parts, you can fully use that weapon and then go pick up another baseball bat or something and continue to do that pretty much over and over, and that is going to save you a hell of a lot in those close quarter situations. It really does make up for the lack of dodges when you can pretty much just one-hit kill most enemies. Even if they get a hit on you, obviously you've got the buff when it comes to taking more melee hits. Taking 1 hit from them is fine, and then you're pretty much going to one-hit kill them, and that is very, very clutch because you don't have that dodge. Now, as for the Shiv upgrade path, this is obviously the one that you start with when you're playing as Joel. This one is also very, very good to use. This will allow you to get your Shiv kills faster, meaning you can kind of avoid being noticed by enemies. It also increases your efficiency at crafting them, plus allowing you to carry more of them. And then the 3rd tier allows you to move faster while you've grabbed an enemy, meaning that if you have to go out into the open a little bit to grab an enemy and there are enemies that can see you, you can kind of drag them back into cover a lot faster in order to get that kill without being seen by the enemies. So the Shiv upgrade path is absolutely clutch when it comes to staying stealthy, and like I mentioned earlier, that is definitely a necessity when it comes to playing as Joel. Now, speaking of stealth too, it is definitely worth getting the silencer recipe if you get your hands on a military pistol. Joel doesn't start off with any ranged stealth at all, which can obviously make it tough on the harder difficulties. So being able to add some range, even with like a crossbow too, that is definitely going to make your life a lot easier. Overall though, Joel is a really solid character. I think the fact that he can't dodge is going to turn a lot of people off, and don't get me wrong, at the harder difficulties it can be very, very tough when you find yourself in a pinch. A lot of the other characters can kind of slip out of those really tough situations, whereas Joel, and it is the same with Tommy, it can be pretty hard to get out of those situations. With that being said, they generally make up for it in other areas, and so if you guys like playing as Joel, he is still very, very viable, and I've actually had some really good runs with him, so he's definitely a capable character when it comes to no return. But anyway, guys, that is it for some of the best tips and tricks when it comes to playing as Joel. If you guys have any tips of your own, be sure to leave them down in the comment section as well, and keep your eyes on the channel for all of the other 9 characters. Manny is the final one going live tomorrow, but I've already covered every single character so far, so be sure to check those out. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.